we looked at factoring the difference of squares, right? The sum of squares was prime. We couldn't factor that, right? Today we want to look at sum and difference of cubes. So what we want to investigate first is what pattern do we see in numbers 17 and 18, right? Finding each product. Well, if I use a box to multiply those together, x plus 3 times x squared minus 3x plus 9. I get x cubed negative 3x squared and 9x. And then 3x squared negative 9x and 27. And we'll notice both of those diagonals cancel out. Right? So it just equals x cubed plus 27. So what is my pattern? Right? When do I get something like this, where the middle terms all cancel out? And I notice whatever this is, times itself twice is here, and then 10 times 10 times 10, right, gets me that final thing, or 3, and then 3 times 3 here. But what about the middle term? Right? What does the middle term have to be so that those things end up canceling out? Right? So if I picture that, and kind of say we're thinking about working backwards here. If I have b minus 10 and b squared and 100, b times b squared is b cubed. Negative 10 times 100 is negative 1,000. Negative 10 times b squared is negative 10b squared. And b times 100 is 100b. If I need this box down here to be negative 100b, and this one here to be positive 10b squared, right? The only way for that to happen is if that middle term was positive 10b, right? Which is what it was here, right? But we can kind of work backwards like that to look at when is that going to happen, right? Okay. If I need it to cancel out 100b, I need this to be negative 100b. So as we look at a pattern for this, so if this was 10b and this was negative 100b, my diagonals canceled, and I just got b cubed minus 1,000. How can I take things that look like these, a sum or a difference of cubes, and work backwards, right, to figure out what that factors into every time? Factoring is just reversing that process. So a cubed plus b cubed, right? We have a word we use to help us with this, and the word is soap. Right? Soap means we start with the same sign, right? The same sign. So my first factor is going to be a plus b. What do I need to multiply a plus b by to get a cubed plus b cubed? Well, a times something needs to get me a cubed for my lead term. That would be a times a squared. And I know b times something at the end needs to get me b cubed, and that would be b times b squared. But how do I figure out what goes in the middle, right? Just like we did here, I look at it and I say, well, if I know that this is positive ab squared, right, I need this to be negative ab squared. So the only way if that's going to happen is if this is the opposite, or a negative, right, and it's b times, well, to get ab squared, I would need to multiply it by ab. And we can do the same thing to figure out our pattern for a difference of cubes. Because if I start with x minus y, that first sign stays the same. We'll talk about SOAP a little bit more on the next screen yet. Right. Then I have to work backwards and say, well, x times x squared, and then y times y squared. Right. To get negative y cubed, it would be a negative times a positive there. Right. But then how am I going to get that stuff to cancel out? Well, it turns out, right, that I just have to multiply these two things together. Right, so it's just xy, so that x times y squared, right, and y times xy end up canceling out. But if this is a negative, right, then I need this one to be the opposite so that it stays negative and cancels out. So a negative times a positive gives me a negative. So my patterns for sum and difference of cubes, how are we going to use those? Let's take a look at a few examples. If you look at the example box, it says if we start with x cubed plus 64. Well, I want to know, is 64 a perfect cube? Right? What is the cubed root of 64? Well, the cubed root of x cubed, what number or what value times itself 3 times gets me x cubed would just be x. Right? And the cubed root of 64 is 4. Somewhere along the side of your page, let's list a bunch of those perfect cubes, right? Going down the side of the page maybe is a good place to do that. So if I list a bunch of those perfect cubes, 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. 6 cubed is 216. 7 cubed is 343. 8 cubed is 512. 9 cubed is 729. 10 cubed is 1,000, and we'll fit 11 cubed yet. 11 cubed is 1,331, right? So now I have those listed somewhere so that I can recognize, is 64 a perfect cube? Well, 64 is on my list, and it would be 4 cubed, right? So it's x cubed plus 4 cubed. SOAP really just means the same sign, the opposite sign, and then the last one is always positive. Right? So if I start with the same sign, since this started out as plus, I'm going to start with an x plus 4. And then I'm going to say I need to multiply by, well, to get x cubed, it would be x squared. Right? And to get 64, my first sign inside that next group is the opposite. So if this was a plus, I need a minus. And always positive at the end. 4 times 4 times 4, or 4 times 16, is going to get me 64. But what is going to make 4x squared cancel out? Right? Well, to make 4x squared cancel out, I would need x times negative 4x to get negative 4x squared. Right. Again, the middle term is always those two pieces multiplied together. This gets a little confusing sometimes because in our perfect square trinomial, the middle term was always the two pieces multiplied together and then doubled, right? So just remembering to take your time and look back and make sure when I multiply these things together that it makes all of those middle terms cancel out. Okay. Let's look at a bunch more examples. In number 19, I want to know what are my perfect cubes. And that would be what cubed gets me y cubed, right? Or what is the cubed root of y cubed? And that would just be y. The cubed root of 125, or what number cubed is 125, gives me 5. So that means I know that y cubed minus 125 factors into, I start with the same sign, y minus 5. So if this was minus, I start with the same sign. And then I set up my trinomial where I know it's going to be the opposite and always positive. To get y cubed, it would be y times y squared. And then I multiply y and 5 together to get 5y. And finally, 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 times 25 must be 125. Right? It's just a pattern to use. Y times y times 5, and 5 times 5. Once I figure out what the y and the 5, those first two numbers are, I should be able to set up the rest of that. In number 20, I have to look and say, well, what are my perfect cubes? To get x cubed, it must have been x cubed. And to get 8, it would have been 2 cubed. Right? So I start with x and my first sign using SOAP, same, opposite, always positive. My first sign stays the same, x plus 2. And then opposite and always positive. Okay? The nice thing about factoring sum and difference of cubes is this trinomial is never going to factor. Like, I'd never find things that multiply to 25 that add up to 5, right? I know for sure that this part is never going to be factorable, so I don't have to check. This part in special cases might be, and we'll look at that in a little bit. So here, if my values were x and 2, I start with x times x, and then x times 2, and then 2 times 2. In number 21, m cubed plus 1 is going to factor into, well, the cubed root of m cubed is m, and the cubed root of 1 is 1. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and m times m times m is m cubed. So I know this factors into m plus 1 times m, so m squared, opposite, always positive. M times 1 is 1m, or just m, and 1 times 1 is 1. And then number 22. N cubed, the cubed root of n cubed is just n, and the cubed root of 1,000 is 10. So those are both perfect cubes. So I can say the first sign stays the same. That means it's going to be n minus 10 times n squared is n cubed. Opposite sign would be plus, and the last sign is going to be always positive. Right? N times 10 is 10n, and 10 times 10 is 100. And again, double checking when you're done, right? You don't have to show this part, but do it in your head. Make sure n times n squared is n cubed. Make sure negative 10 times 100 is negative 1,000, right? And then just double check quick. Does negative 10n squared and 10n squared cancel out, right? And then those last two. 27x cubed plus 125 y cubed. Right? The cubed root of 27, what number cubed was 27? Well, that was a 3. So that's 3x. 3x times 3x times 3x is 27x cubed. The cubed root of 125y cubed would be 5y. So if I want to factor this, I can factor it using our sum and difference of cubes pattern, which was I start with the same sign, so 3x plus 5y. And then I need the opposite sign, and always positive. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 5y is 15xy. And finally, 5y times 5y is 25y squared. Right. When it comes to these patterns, repetition is really what's going to help you figure out that pattern and get comfortable with this. Right. So again, it was 3x times 3x, 3x times 5y, and 5y times 5y. The two parts, right? Each one multiplied by itself and then multiplied together in the middle, and using our same sign, our opposite sign, and our last sign is always positive. Okay. And I said we would look at one of the messy ones. Okay. What happens if it's not just a cubed here, right? P to the 6th. Well, what times itself 3 times would get me p to the 6th, right? So I'm thinking about it and, oh, well, that must be p squared times p squared times p squared, because I know the rule is that I add my exponents, and that would be 6 of them. So p to the 6th, the cubed root is p squared. And then the cubed root of 64 was 4. So I start with the same sign. P squared minus 4. And then the opposite sign, and always positive. So p squared times p squared is p to the 4th. P squared times 4 is 4p squared. And 4 times 4 is 16. Now, the problem is this time, this part I can't keep going with, but this part I can. Because there's an exponent there, I know to try to keep going. And what I recognize is there's 2 terms. The only times I can factor when there are 2 terms is if it's a sum or difference of cubes or a difference of squares. And this one is my difference of squares. So that's what we practiced last week. P squared was p times p, and 4 was 2 times 2. So that factored into p plus 2 times p minus 2. And then I still have p to the 4th plus 4p squared plus 16. Right? So always looking at what's left and saying, can I keep going? Whenever I use that sum and difference of cubes patterns, though, right, I'm never going to be able to keep going with the trinomial part. I might be able to keep going with the binomial part. But notice all of the other ones don't have any exponents, right, which is the big clue that there's nothing I can keep going with. Because if I only have an x, I can't break it into x to the 1/2 and another x to the 1/2, right, or something like that. That's not going to work. So now it's time to practice, and again, repetition is key. Make sure if you have questions, you're finding a way to ask those.